Science fiction has always belonged to Hollywood. At least that's the myth. Massive budgets, clean futurism, predictable heroes. But Italy approached the genre differently. Italian sci-fi is stranger, more philosophical, more political, and often far more disturbing. Instead of sleek optimism, these films deliver existential dread, religious symbolism, body horror, and social collapse. They blur the line between art house and exploitation, between prophecy and nightmare. Some were banned, some were misunderstood. Some quietly influenced generations of filmmakers who never openly admitted it. These movies don't just imagine the future, they question humanity itself. Identity dissolves, civilizations crumble, faith collides with technology, and the endings rarely comfort you. Italy didn't try to compete with Hollywood's spectacle. It carved its own path through ambiguity, paranoia, and bold artistic risk. These are not polished blockbusters. They are cinematic shocks that linger in the subconscious long after the screen goes dark. These are 10 Italian sci-fi films that shocked the world and refuse to be forgotten.
Snowpiercer, 2013. While directed by Bong Joon-ho, Snowpiercer was co-produced with significant Italian involvement and reflects European dystopian tradition. Set aboard a perpetually moving train carrying the last survivors of a frozen Earth, the film divides humanity by class from tail to engine. The train becomes a mechanical metaphor for social hierarchy. Unlike many Hollywood dystopias that center on individual heroism, Snowpiercer emphasizes systemic inequality and cyclical oppression. Its violence is sudden and morally complex. Production design shifts radically between carriages, creating a surreal journey through micro-societies. The film shocked global audiences with its brutal twists and political boldness. Rather than offering neat revolution fantasy, it questions the cost of upheaval. Its multinational production underscores how science fiction transcends borders while retaining cultural specificity. Snowpiercer proves European influence can reshape blockbuster dystopia into something sharper and more unsettling.
Planet of the Vampires, 1965. Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires proves atmosphere can outweigh budget. Produced for a fraction of Hollywood sci-fi costs, the film follows two spacecraft crews landing on a mysterious planet where unseen forces possess the dead. The plot is simple, the execution is hypnotic. Bava uses colored fog, minimalist sets, and stark lighting to create an alien world inside a studio. The imagery directly influenced Ridley Scott's Alien years later, particularly the discovery of a massive skeletal corpse. The horror unfolds slowly, driven by paranoia rather than spectacle. Possession becomes a metaphor for identity loss as crew members turn against one another under unseen control. Hollywood might amplify explosions and creature effects. Bava leans into mood and dread. The result feels dreamlike and uncanny, blending gothic horror with cosmic mystery. Its visual ambition shocked international audiences and proved Italian genre cinema could shape the language of global science fiction.
L'Avventura, 1960. Directed by Michelangelo Antonioni, L'Avventura begins like a mystery and evolves into something far more unsettling. A woman disappears during a Mediterranean yacht trip, but the search gradually loses urgency. Instead of solving the mystery, the film explores emotional emptiness among Italy's wealthy elite. The sci-fi element isn't technological, it's existential. Antonioni presents alienation as a kind of modern condition, where human connection collapses under material comfort. The landscapes feel vast and indifferent, dwarfing the characters. Silence replaces explanation. Hollywood would demand answers, a twist, a revelation. L'Avventura refuses all of that. It shocked audiences at Cannes, where early viewers reportedly booed its ambiguity. Yet it redefined cinematic storytelling by treating absence itself as narrative tension. The film feels like watching humanity drift into emotional extinction. Its quiet rebellion against structure influenced decades of art cinema, proving science fiction can exist not in space, but inside the human soul.
The Tenth Victim, 1965. Elio Petri's The Tenth Victim transforms futuristic assassination into pop art satire. Starring Marcello Mastroianni and Ursula Andress, the film imagines a society where murder is legalized as entertainment through a televised great hunt. Participants alternate between hunter and victim until one reaches 10 kills and wins a fortune. Beneath its stylish sets and mod costumes lies biting commentary about media sensationalism and commodified violence. The production design glows with 1960s futurism, yet the themes feel disturbingly modern. Reality television, influencer culture, and performative fame all echo Petrie's vision. Hollywood might remake this as pure action spectacle. The original plays it cool, ironic, and seductively cynical. Romance collides with survival in a dance of manipulation. The violence feels playful on the surface, yet morally corrosive underneath. Decades before dystopian franchises dominated multiplexes, Italy delivered a glossy satire that predicted our obsession with watching strangers compete, even to the death.
The Day of the Dolphin, 1973. Though directed by Mike Nichols, this Italian-produced thriller carries European paranoia at its core. Starring George C. Scott, the story centers on scientists training dolphins to communicate with humans, only to discover the animals are being weaponized for political assassination. The concept sounds absurd, yet the film treats it with chilling seriousness. Water tanks and laboratory corridors become spaces of quiet dread. The dolphin's innocent intelligence contrasts sharply with human corruption. Unlike flashy American thrillers, this production emphasizes ethical anxiety over spectacle. It questions scientific responsibility and government secrecy in a way that feels deeply rooted in 1970s European political distrust. The tone is melancholic rather than explosive. Instead of triumphant heroism, it leaves viewers contemplating manipulation and moral compromise. Its blend of conspiracy and speculative science shocked audiences who expected something lighter, proving Italy's influence extended beyond purely domestic productions.
Contamination, 1980. Directed by Luigi Cozzi, Contamination opens with a cargo ship drifting into New York Harbor, its crew dead and its hold filled with pulsating alien eggs. When the eggs explode, victims literally burst apart. The practical effects are grotesque and unforgettable. Inspired by Alien but infused with Italian exploitation energy, the film pushes body horror to outrageous extremes. Yet beneath the gore lies Cold War paranoia about biological invasion and hidden threats. The synth-heavy score amplifies the sense of dread. Hollywood would streamline the chaos into a polished creature feature. Cozzi embraces excess and unpredictability. Scenes unfold with dreamlike logic, shifting from urban investigation to jungle conspiracy. It feels anarchic, almost feverish. International censors cut several versions due to graphic violence, which only enhanced its cult reputation. Contamination shocked viewers not just with gore, but with its refusal to behave like a conventional sci-fi thriller.
War of the Robots, 1978. Alfonso Brescia's War of the Robots rides the wave of post-Star Wars enthusiasm but filters it through Italian pulp imagination. The story follows humanoid robots kidnapping scientists to extract their souls, a concept far stranger than typical space opera. The sets are modest, the costumes flamboyant, and the tone earnest despite limited resources. Rather than mimic Hollywood's grandeur, the film leans into melodrama and cosmic mysticism. Themes of artificial life and spiritual essence intertwine, giving the narrative an unexpectedly philosophical undertone. Space battles appear stylized rather than realistic, creating a surreal charm. Critics dismissed it as derivative, yet its sincerity and imaginative ambition earned cult admiration worldwide. Hollywood would likely inflate the spectacle and dilute the metaphysics. Brescia's version feels handmade and unpredictable. That raw creativity, unpolished but fearless, is precisely what gives the film its enduring fascination among genre enthusiasts.
Nirvana, 1997. Directed by Gabriele Salvatores, Nirvana plunges into cyberpunk territory years before The Matrix dominated screens. Christopher Lambert plays a game designer who discovers his virtual reality character has gained consciousness and wants to die. The film blends Eastern philosophy, digital identity, and corporate dystopia into a moody, rain-soaked future. Salvatores crafts a multicultural cyber landscape that feels global rather than purely Western. The special effects were groundbreaking for Italian cinema at the time, integrating early CGI with gritty urban realism. Instead of focusing on action spectacle, Nirvana meditates on artificial awareness and existential suffering. Hollywood might amplify gunfights and visual effects. This version prioritizes atmosphere and introspection. Its exploration of sentient code, anticipating questions about AI decades before mainstream debate. Though underseen internationally, it remains one of Europe's boldest cyberpunk visions, thoughtful, melancholy, and startlingly prescient.
The Last Man on Earth, 1964. Starring Vincent Price and based on Richard Matheson's novel, I Am Legend, this Italian production delivers a stark, haunting apocalypse. Shot in eerie black and white across deserted Roman streets, it follows a lone survivor in a world overrun by vampiric-infected humans. The tone is bleak and methodical. There are no explosive battles, only quiet routines of survival and crushing loneliness. The film's minimalist style emphasizes isolation over action. Later Hollywood adaptations would increase spectacle and heroic framing. This version feels intimate and tragic, focusing on psychological deterioration. Price delivers one of his most subdued performances, portraying despair rather than theatrical horror. Its imagery of empty cities influenced decades of post-apocalyptic cinema. Audiences were shocked by its relentless pessimism and refusal to provide comforting closure. It remains one of the purest cinematic expressions of existential survival. Italian science fiction has never been about competing with Hollywood's scale. It thrives on mood, philosophy, and provocation. These films blur horror with satire, dystopia with political commentary, spectacle with introspection. They predicted media obsession, artificial intelligence, viral apocalypse, and systemic collapse long before those themes dominated mainstream cinema. Some were dismissed as exploitation, others were misunderstood on release, yet all of them carried a daring spirit that challenged audiences rather than comforting them. Italy treated science fiction as a laboratory for cultural anxiety and artistic experimentation. The results were strange, beautiful, sometimes chaotic, and unforgettable. They shocked not only because of imagery, but because of ideas. In a genre often driven by formula, these films chose risk, and decades later, their influence still echoes in unexpected corners of global cinema, proving that the boldest futures are often imagined far from Hollywood's spotlight.